Hello folks, welcome back to my channel, The Sarthak Show, where we discuss about tech, career, product and life. And today we have a very special guest with us, Mandakini. She is working as an Amazon product manager. And today we will learn and uncover the learnings about product management, how you can grow about it, what is the perks of networking, what is the process to get into Amazon, what are the thinking and principles behind Amazon, and how one can identify themselves in the product management field with this kind of thing. So, if you have not even subscribed to this channel yet, press the hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon near that so that you get a notification every time I put a new video. And without further ado, let's start with the video. And moving ahead, since you are working at Amazon, I wanted to focus on what is your work at Amazon right now. Like, how is the culture at Amazon? What are the roles and responsibility you handle, and how does like your work looks like in a typical day?
Well, every day is day one at Amazon because there is a lot to learn. And I think, while everyone talks a lot about day one, it is only when you actually begin working at Amazon do you really realize what that really means. Okay, it isn't a cliche, it isn't just a word. We truly live by it because every day there is so much to learn.
Correct.
So, coming to Amazon's culture, it is not hidden from anyone that an Amazonian's DNA is truly the leadership principles. Okay. Everyone, I would say, at least most people who are aspiring to be Amazonians or who do have friends who are Amazonians in their network or have read anything about the stakeholder letters that come out every year are to some extent familiar with the concept of what we call leadership principles or LPs for short. Okay. I want to just take a step forward and say that while the LPs are specific to Amazon because Amazon developed them or at least gave them a name, right? Most of these LPs we do use in our everyday life. And when I say we, it is every human being.
Right.
A product manager, when focused towards building a product that is going to help his or her customer, is obsessed about customers, right? So that is customer obsession, which is our first leadership principle, right? So while the term has been coined by Amazon, okay, I personally believe that when people will look at their own lives, whether personal or professional, they will be able to identify that a lot of these leadership principles they're already using in their lives.
Right.
In addition to that, I think what they will also be able to see is if they are not using a particular leadership principle, how can they incorporate it and how it can be better. So to answer your question about Amazon's culture, we are driven through and through by our leadership principles. In everything that we do, we put the customer first to be able to make sure that the customer's pain point is addressed. We make sure that everything that we write, everything that we do is done in a very clear and concise manner, making sure that everyone who is involved with that work has an understanding of which way or which direction we are headed in. And that is not just for me, that is for everyone. And if you have friends in your network or anyone you know who works at Amazon, you will hear them talk about something called peculiarity at Amazon or very peculiar terms. It is because there are certain aspects of Amazon which are just very, very peculiar to Amazon. And you've got to be in there to be able to understand why they exist and what exists. And I think one of the very important questions, perhaps everyone who's looking at this podcast is waiting for is how can we get into Amazon? Right. Okay. So everyone must be waiting. Okay, when is that question going to be answered? How can we get into Amazon? So I'm not saying I'm addressing that question right now, but I want to throw some light on the peculiarity at Amazon. So the peculiarity at Amazon, whether it is in terms of cracking an interview, whether it is in terms of your everyday work, whether it is when it comes to even getting promotions, when you are looking to move to the next level,
Mhm.
you have to be 50% better than the individual who's already at that level.
Mhm.
And that is what we call raising the bar. So this particular term, whether it's bar raiser, whether it's raising the bar, is peculiar to Amazon. It is not something that is going to be heard at other organizations, because even at Amazon's interviews, you will have one individual, and we'll not know who that individual is, who is a bar raiser. Okay,
Right.
who has nothing to do with the current hiring team or the hiring manager. So there is no bias at all. The person is an independent decision maker. And the goal of that bar raiser is to be able to determine whether a candidate during his or her interview has raised the bar or not, which means are they 50% better than
Mhm.
the current individual in that role or not. So this is very, very, very peculiar to Amazon,
Mhm.
and a concept that is followed in everyday work, that is followed even when, you know, promotions need to happen, and definitely when hiring needs to happen.
Right.
Okay. And to answer your question in terms of my work, so currently I'm leading two programs, and the goals of those programs essentially is to be able to understand what the driver agent pain points are, and why are those pain points coming up. Is there a recurring pattern?
Mhm.
If it is, what needs to be done proactively to be able to resolve it? Okay. And how is it that we can bring down, of course, the more interaction we have from the, driver partners and the driver agents, the better it is, which means that they have that trust in us to be able to share their pain points and their concerns, right? But a very, very important aspect to be able to determine the health of the program is to be able to determine how it has been able to reduce the problems that these individuals are facing, because they are the ones who are actually delivering the product to you,
Right.
right? So I'm not talking about you as a customer, but my customer is that driver agent.
Mhm.
Okay, because you are Amazon's customer, but my program's customer is the driver agent, and I need to be able to resolve his or her problems. So that is the program that I am currently, of course, heading and working on.
Mhm.
We are piloting that program, and then of course look forward to expanding it all across North America, Europe, and the Japan and Asia regions.
Awesome. I think it's a great work, and part of being that last mile delivery team, uh, understanding those pain points and working in direction to find out those patterns and mitigate those issues, right? So yeah, it's good to know that. And the thing you mentioned, I totally understand, because a lot of my friends who are working at Amazon always mention about this bar raiser and how they are able to raise the bar, and how it helps them grow in their career path itself. So yeah, totally aligned. And I think that is one thing very, very unique towards Amazon. But I definitely want to know more what all Amazon in is different about, and how it uh, is at the apex of the all the other organizations that are currently in this industry right now. But let's say if somebody wants to apply at Amazon, what are the different things that the person should keep in their mind before interview, before applying to the organization? What are the other things or aspects of the company that they should be aware of?
So, well, Sarthak, I think, see, for every individual, it's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a segment of people whom I know who are very clear that they don't want to work at Amazon, not because it's a bad organization, but because they want to work with a very product heavy organization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, that's a personal choice.
Okay.
So, to be able to answer the question that you just asked me, I'll say that it is a personal choice. One, I think individuals have to be very clear about the fact that they need to understand what Amazon does. And
Mm-hmm.
you cannot understand what Amazon does just by reading something and saying, okay, fine, we get boxes delivered at our home from Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
right? It doesn't begin and end there. The number of teams, in fact, there are teams at Amazon that are so large, which are the size of organizations themselves.
Right.
Okay. So imagine that teams within Amazon are like organizations. So one, we need to understand that Amazon is huge. The magnanimity of the organization can only be understood when you are inside it. Outside, yes, it sounds great, it looks great, it's a huge organization to be a part of. But I'm not only saying this for Amazon, I'm saying it generically for any organization. Choose to be a part of the organization because you feel that the value system of that organization and the vision of that organization matches yours. Okay. And this one piece, and there is also a not article, there's a post I've created on my LinkedIn profile almost a month ago now, which very categorically says that I did not join Amazon for the money. And that is true. I did not join it for the money. Okay. The reason, so coming back to the point as to what people need to keep in mind, the first thing I'll recommend everyone to keep in mind is be very clear about what role you are seeking. Right. And if that role exists in Amazon, be very aware of the kind of work that you will be doing, because more or less it will be there in the job description. Right. That's one. Number two, please read up on Amazon's goals. What are their DEI goals, their diversity, equity, and inclusion goals. Okay. What are their goals in terms of being the Earth's most customer-centric organization, or strive to be the world's most, the best employer, right? Why do they have these goals? What are they doing towards that? Correct. Read up on what the leadership principles are, because they are openly available on Google, right? Understand whether those are something that you apply within your own life, and is it something that matches a value system that you are looking for your own life, because sometimes when you're 22, 23, it may not matter, but it will matter when you're 30, 31. Right? You are more mature in your career at that time. Right. So these, of course, are important. Now, in addition to this, coming to in terms of applications and how do you go about that? One, make sure that if you can't figure out how to network with a recruiter or a hiring manager, you need to absolutely make sure that you get a referral. Okay. Because please understand that the competition is a very, very high for an organization like Amazon. The reason being because one, they hire more people than most other organizations, because Amazon is very large that way. Right. Okay, that's one. Obviously, when they hire so many more, this also means that the competition goes up. Correct. Right? So if Amazon is hiring 100 people, another organization for that equivalent number may perhaps just be hiring 10. So a lot of times more people apply for Amazon because they're like, okay, they at least have 100 positions open. Now imagine everyone has that same thinking. Okay. So everyone is applying for those 100 roles, right? Which means inadvertently, without realizing, everyone is creating competition for themselves. So when you have that competition that is getting created, you have to make sure that you stand out from the crowd. So one, if nothing else, if all else fails, as I said, you must apply with a referral. Number two, you must compare your resume for keywords against the job description to make sure that your resume has what the role is looking for. Now, this doesn't mean that you start going and putting all technical jargon in your resume, even if it's not applicable, right? I'm not talking about something that isn't applicable. I'm talking about what is applicable. Okay. And number three, Amazon is very data driven. So you need to be aware and conscious that when you are building out your resume, and especially if you're applying to Amazon, in fact, I think it applies to every organization, your bullet points must have metric outcomes. So if you're saying, oh, I work with a team of 12 individuals, my question to you was, okay, what did you do? Anyone can work with 12 people, right? But did you solve conflict? Did you improve operational efficiency? Did you improve return on investment? What was it that actually got achieved when you were leading a team of 12 people, or you were working cohesively with a team of 10, 12 people? Did you improve communication to be able to impact another metric, right? So it's very, very important. And last but not the least, let's say you do get chosen to be able to interview at Amazon. I want to say this very categorically. Amazon's interviews are not that you're going to take your resume and you're going to reach the interview, and the interviewer is going to ask you a question, and in that moment you're going to make up a scenario in the STAR method. Okay. Please understand that all of Amazon's interviews, barring a few very technical heavy interviews, are all focused on the behavioral interview piece, which is completely driven by leadership principles.
Okay.
Okay, so someone who is interviewing you for Amazon could ask you just one question in 1 hour and continue to grill on that one question,
Right.
which has happened with me and has happened with a lot of other people. So imagine answering one question in 1 hour, which means how thorough you need to be. So you have got to build out your scenarios. You have got to be very, very aware of the kind of work you have done, because past habits determine future performance. So if you have demonstrated certain habits in the past, you are likely to also demonstrate them in the future.
Right.
Which means that when you are being interviewed for Amazon, we are essentially identifying which of Amazon's leadership principles did you actually showcase in your previous roles. But the interviewer is not going to tell you that I am looking for ownership, or I'm looking for our right a lot, or I'm looking for, customer obsession, or I'm looking for bias for action. All that you're going to be asked is a question. But when you have thorough preparation, you will be able to answer these questions, okay, to be able to demonstrate what you did in the past. Correct. So this will be my input on both the application to Amazon and also cracking the Amazon interview. But having said that, I do want to make one very important point. And of course, I have my own, career advancement program, that has been leveraged by over, like I was mentioning to you earlier, Sarthak, more than 73 people have leveraged it now, but 73 people have been able to land jobs that they have wanted. Okay. And in that, there is a piece of optimizing your LinkedIn profile. And I think that is a very, very crucial element, not only for Amazon, but for any organization, because every organization has sourcing recruiters who are on LinkedIn. And what you portray on your LinkedIn profile tells them whether or not you're going to be a good fit for that organization, right? And they may reach out to you rather than you having to go through, a referral or applying. They may reach out to you, just like, what happened with me. So yeah, so that is what you need to be aware of when you're interviewing for Amazon.
Yeah, I think makes sense, totally makes sense. And I second that. Your LinkedIn profile can make a difference between you applying at a company or the recruiter reaching out to you, because something where you have put your time and energy could be used by recruiters. And because everybody who is at professional level, from recruiters to from hiring managers, they are on the platform, and they can totally take it will take like a couple of seconds to analyze and understand what the person is working on, and that could lead to a person spending more than some time on your profile and giving you opportunity that you could have never imagined.
And one more thing to add here, right? Please understand, time is a very limited commodity. You cannot manage time. Everyone has 24 hours. I cannot say, okay, I want 2 minutes of time to wait for me. Or someone cannot say that, okay, fine, I want to fast forward 1 hour because I want to reach my destination faster, right? None of us can do that. But please understand, when you are optimizing your LinkedIn profile, you're going to do it once. It could be 1 iteration, 2, 3, 4. I'm saying you do 5 iterations of your profile. Okay. And let's say it has taken you 10 days, 20 days to do it. Okay. By investing 2 hours every day. So in essence, you've invested 40 hours on building your LinkedIn profile.
Right.
That's what you've invested. However, just by doing that one activity of investing 40 hours, though it's not going to take that much time. Okay. What has happened is that you have bought back more than 30 hours of time. Because if you start networking, right, and I am saying that you connect with 20 people every day, you send out a message to 20 people every day, okay, you will need to research those profiles, you will have to search for those profiles. It is going to take you at least an hour, hour and a half.
Right.
Okay. And by the time you get to the point where someone will put in a referral, then you're going to complete the application. It is way more than 40 hours.
Right.
Okay. So just by doing that one activity of optimizing your LinkedIn profile, you are buying back your time, which is a perishable commodity. Time is not coming back.
Correct.
Right. So from the day we are born to the day we die, it's we are in debt, right? We are subtracting that much time from our lives as we continue to advance forward.
Right.
But there are certain ways that we can buy back some time also for ourselves. And I am a firm believer that optimizing our LinkedIn profile is one of the best ways to be able to do it in a professional setting.
That's so true. I totally abide by that. And I think a very good analogy that you mentioned, that we are in a debt and that is how we can bring back the time
Yeah.
that we have spent. And I, as a person, I have done this myself. I have been optimizing my profile then and there. It takes less time right now because I have been habitual of that. But it's an initial friction that you have to manage. But once you do that, you will see its after effects. And that is going to be another slight of the motivation that to keep on optimizing your profile then and
Exactly.
then. Right. And it has
Exactly.
countless effects. It is not only restricted to job, but it has countless effects on optimizing your profile. Because
True.
I personally believe if you are in the professional industry right now, it makes sense to have a good profile out there so that people can understand whatever the work you are doing. And
Yeah, I have, in fact, I have had hiring managers when I have reached out to them very categorically ask me, is your LinkedIn profile indicative of your resume?
oh, is,
And this was a head of product engineering at Stripe
oh,
in Seattle. Okay. So imagine if my answer to that question was no. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because this gentleman was already on my LinkedIn profile when he was responding to my message, right? Which meant that if he would have spent 5 more minutes on my LinkedIn profile, it wouldn't perhaps really have mattered to him. Now, fortunately, my answer to that question was yes. But if I would have said no to the question, which would have meant that I would now have to send him my resume, which means that either he would have to open his email outside of the communication he was having with me, or he would have to come back to the LinkedIn message and then open my resume, whether it was in Word, whether it was in PDF. So I was increasing work for him, right?
right.
If I would have answered no. But given the fact that I answered yes, he was already there. So he just viewed my profile and he figured out that, okay, whether I am a good fit for something based on my past experience or not. And the work got done.
I think that is the best anecdote I can hear, and that makes so much sense right now because essentially you are saving a lot of time for the other person. That creates a huge impact in their life because at the position that they are currently in, it is they don't have so much of the time, and the effort that you are saving them is going to give you returns that you have never imagined, right? Hey folks, wait, there is a special announcement. Newton School has started their full stack web development course. You can try and check that out in the description box below. It has mentioned all the details which will help you get upskill in the web development, and also this will be very good for getting yourself hired at startups and MNCs. So what are you waiting for? Try and check that out. I believe.
Correct. It's an intangible thing, like you mentioned, right? We've saved them effort, but they have viewed it as the fact that we are proactive.
Right.
So effort saved for them is a positive for us in terms of us being proactive, and us being proactive is perhaps an attitude they're looking for someone who's going to potentially work on their team.
Correct.
So optimizing one LinkedIn profile has had this ripple effect.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, right. I think that totally makes sense because whatever the work you do, uh, that is one platform where everybody on my at least I believe is professionally available, and it takes a couple of seconds to find that person. Personally, if I have to mention that before joining the current organization, my profile was at least viewed by 10 different individuals from the same org. So I was very sure that they have watched my profile, they were able to identify what kind of a
Correct.
person I am, and maybe based on that they could have taken a decision what team I should be part of, or maybe what kind of work or charter can be expected out of me. And before me even joining the organization, they had a mental model what kind of a person I'm coming, or what are the strengths or capabilities I'm bringing to the table.
True. True.
Yeah. And I think we are at the end of the podcast right now with having so much knowledge, with so much good things. Thank you so much for sharing all of these instances and putting it in a very beautiful way for the audience to understand and get a lot of different things. Uh, I really appreciate taking out this time, uh, helping the audience, guide them, for telling them in this amazing manner with a lot of anecdotes and the analogies. That was I personally enjoyed it. And if you want to add any last words before ending.
No, I think we've covered it all,
Mhm.
but absolutely everyone who watches this podcast or listens to it, my recommendation will be that take time to be able to build that, presence that you are looking for.
Mhm.
If you are, it is not a compulsion for everyone. A lot of people like to keep their lives private. And when we talk about LinkedIn, we're not talking about, you sharing private lives, right? Everyone has a different way of sharing content and what they want to do.
Mhm.
But I remember making a start. I didn't even know I was going to create content on LinkedIn at that time. This was almost 2 years ago.
Mhm.
But I started off with, it was in the midst of the pandemic, and I would attend a lot of events just to be able to enhance my knowledge. And one
Mhm.
of the things I always did is I always created a post about what I learned and who were the people who were speaking. So
Mhm.
slowly and steadily, as I would tag people, as I would share what I had learned, people in their network started paying attention to these posts. And that's how I was able to start building my network, right?
Mhm.
Something very small, something I didn't even know would perhaps be a gateway into how I could essentially network. So,
Right.
uh, be grateful for everything that you are doing.
Mhm.
Uh, in addition to that, share your thoughts, anything you've learned, something that you would like to share. And don't make it about how many likes there are on the post, or who has commented on the post, because I can tell you this: eventually you'll reach a point where people will value your content and they will automatically come to that content.
Correct.
So then you won't really have to worry about how many likes there are or what is really happening. But your presence would have got built, which is going to definitely make sure that you kind of move forward in the direction that you desire. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I think that is, I super agree to that part, because whatever content you post on the platform creates an impact on the other person's life, and that is the motivation that whatever I am doing is going to add some value to the other person's life, and that is going to have immense thing, and it is going to be exponential by the time you do this. So it's going to be initial friction in the start, but as you progress in the field, you do stuff, you realize that this is going to be very phenomenal, and the people that you reach out to, people that understand your post, and it is so good in itself. So yeah, I truly recommend that. And yeah, and also everyone who is looking out to reach out to her, I will put her LinkedIn link in the description box below, and couple of her interesting posts that I liked, so that you can also understand and know more about her profile and reach out, and it could be good for your network, right? uh, yeah, thank you so much. And thank you so much for this podcast and sharing all those stories, Nagni.
Thank you so much, Sarthak. Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care. See you. Bye bye. So folks, with this we come to the end of part 1 of this series. I hope आपको ये वीडियो काफ़ी अच्छी लगी होगी. What are the details and learnings that Mandakini has shared? We will uncover more things about Amazon, product management culture, networking and everything in the second part of this video, which will be dropping tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.